Phaedra said Angela is the oldest young-looking person she's ever met, and I fell the fuck out. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
All right, this is the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. Let's talk about it because I got to get to work. All right, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 13, Chapter 1, Resets. All right, so we open in Shamea's house with her adorable little daughter, preparing for the Grenada trip. Apparently, Grenada had a hurricane, so her and Kelly, who later shows up, they want to do a little bit of charity work while they're there and give back. Shamea was clearing out a couple things, including toys. She was trying to explain to her daughter, which is good. She said she doesn't want her daughters to be like spoiled and stuff like that. So that's good. I think that's a good thing to instill in children early. So the other ladies eventually trickle in with their donations. Britt shows up in her Rolls Royce with a very light box talking about, I'm going to send the guys over later to bring more stuff. And what's funny, Shamea was like, well, they're coming in like an hour or two to grab everything. So hopefully they're coming soon. You know, Britt, you weren't sending nobody else. You had nothing else to give. I mean, she gave something, but, you know, I can see from next week's episode, they're going to clown the shit out of her about it. Anyway, so I can't remember if it's Kelly and her family first or Porsha and Shamea. So we can go to Porsha, not Porsha and Shamea, Porsha and Drew. Let's go to them. So Porsha and Drew finally sit down to have a proper conversation. So the bullshit is flying from minute one with, of course, Drew Sidora, because so she's wearing this really beautiful wig, blonde, really cute, layered with bang, really cute. Blonde is your color, Drew. I don't give you a lot, but I'll give you that. Blonde is your color. Looks great on her. I think it's her skin tone. She looked great, actually. So, of course, the producer's asking her if it's go naked hair. She says no. Porsha notices it when she sits down. They go to her confessional. And Bravo messy as hell because Porsha's like, well, it looks like go naked, but it might be blended with other stuff, like throwing shade. So, of course, Bravo's messy and shows Drew's post where she's talking about wearing go naked hair. I thought you were fired as brand ambassador. And of course she lies because she can't fucking tell the truth. Drew Sidora is Mia Thornton from Real Housewives of Potomac. Just everything's a lie. And my thing is, somebody that would lie about small shit like speaking 5 languages or Michael Jordan being her cousin, that motherfucker lie about anything. Just saying. And for all you Drew stans, the people that in the comments to be like, well, Drew's an underdog. Drew's been on the show 5 years. She's not an underdog. If you're still referring to her as an underdog, that is code for she's mediocre as hell and has brought nothing to the show. I'm surprised she's still here. That's not up for debate. Sorry, not sorry. So anyway, her and Porsha start talking about their grievances. And I got to give Drew this. Drew, even though to me it was low-hanging fruit because I really don't think there was any malicious intent behind it. Of course, the whole issue of Drew filming with Dennis. And then, of course, Drew brings up Porsha filming with Ralph. She has every right to bring that up. I don't think it's that strong of an argument because I really don't think it was that deep, considering I just don't think it was that deep. Well, you know what? Let me backtrack. To me, it wasn't that deep, but they did talk about Drew. Let me stop. They did talk about Drew. So Drew, I'll give you that. That's the only time I'm gonna give you one, Drew, is that. So basically, they're taking small shots at each other. Porsha brings up, she explains her position of why she was upset about filming on the show. And then Portia's whole thing was, Drew, you let the narrative run that you and Dennis were sleeping together when I thought you were sleeping with this guy Black. So they cut to a group photo of her, Dennis, and a bunch of other people the guy that's next to Drew in the photo is clearly the dude black, because there was no other, I don't think there were any other men in the photo besides Dennis. Of course, he's blurred out. So Drew, because it struck a nerve, because it's probably true, gets annoyed. So she's like, well, you're dating Future. I love how they bleep out Future's name, and we clearly know that they're talking about Future. And Porsha's like, I'm not dating him. I don't even know him. In the comments, if you guys heard that rumor about Porsha and Future, let me know. I keep my ear close to the streets. I've never heard that. I've never heard that, ever. But, I mean, am I surprised? Not really. If it is true, I wouldn't be surprised. But whatever. So, I think the disconnect in this conversation came from Drew kind of not really owning anything. And then Porsha riding heavy on the black train, talking about her in black. It didn't go anywhere because Drew does what she does. No accountability in the, oh, I don't understand. We're having an adult conversation. That's how she's gaslighting. She's such a gaslighter. Talking about she don't know the meaning. I'm referring to last season, but okay, girl. Porsha admits she doesn't do well in arguments, and she's right, she doesn't. So she ends up getting up from the table and leaves. Nothing was resolved. If I were Porsha and Drew, I would leave that shit alone. Let's just leave it alone. Kelly at home with her daughters getting ready for Grenada. I love her family. I really like Kelly. She kind of lulled a little bit in a few episodes, but we got a little taste of what's going on with her. So she's getting ready for Grenada. The girls are asking who's going to watch them and take them to school. She talks about her publicist, who's a longtime family friend that's going to watch them while she's gone. She also reveals that she's going to miss the first day of school. So the girls were like, oh, that would suck. I remember my first days of school with my mom. Yeah, that would suck. My mom wasn't there. But listen, your mother's working. She's getting that money, so y'all can get what y'all want. So Kelly goes down to the kitchen where her publicist is. I cannot remember that man's name, and her friend. And he's basically going over the schedule of, I fell out when he was like, what time did the twins have to be at school? She was like 7. He was like 7. What am I talking about? I'm up at fucking 4:30 in the morning every morning feeding these badass cats, trying to work out and live my best life. Anyway, not about me. So as they're talking, her publicist reveals that he talked to her husband, Mark. He talks about how he called him. She's shocked. Her husband sounds like a mess, y'all. So the publicist is like, you could tell he was trying to find a common ground, commonality, and some sort of peace between the ex and Kelly. And he basically said Mark was coming from a place of no. Everything was no. He's not into it. Kelly definitely got a little teary-eyed about it. That's gotta suck. That's really gotta suck. And the fact that he doesn't want anything to really do with his kids is kind of wild too. That's wild. She also revealed in that scene that he took $500,000 or something out of the business account. One of the accounts. He took some money out. Money make people do crazy stuff, y'all. Crazy stuff. Protect yourself. Anyway, so the ladies, there's a bunch of other shit happened that's irrelevant because we're going to get right to it. So Grenada. So they're all at the airport. Phaedra is going too. So Phaedra is here, y'all. She's on the trip. So they all get to the airport, and Drew arrives last. And they get on the plane. They get to Grenada. Grenada's really pretty. They get in Grenada, and Shamea's luggage was the only luggage that didn't arrive with everybody else. That's gotta suck. So they get to the hotel where they're staying, the villa. Very nice. They find out that they're going to have to share rooms. Of course. So Phaedra and Britt are sharing a room. Very interesting. Porsha and Angela, they hugged each other. I like that they're like getting back to a better place, because I think Angela, again, I said this in my last review, I think she's a great addition to the show, and I think she's taken the bone collecting thing and really running with it. Definitely giving her MVP. The real tea will be when all her bones start coming out the closet. Ooh. All right. So who else? Shamea and Kelly share a room together because obviously they're the host. And Drew and Cynthia share a room because turns out Cynthia is the only person that Drew is not beefing with on this trip. So the rooms are beautiful. And of course, Cynthia and Drew, one room is a queen, one room is two twin beds. And of course they fight over that. But Cynthia, is like 85 feet taller than Drew and really shouldn't be sleeping in no twin bed. So she ends up giving her the room with the queen size. It cracks me up. I say this every time, and I guess I always will. Them fighting over rooms on this vacation be killing me. Like, y'all are on a free vacation you didn't pay for, and it's not like you're going to be hanging out in your rooms the whole time. But, okay. All right. So, Shamea tells them, all right, so you guys got 30 minutes to go upstairs, eat lunch, and get ready and come back down, which was hilarious. So they do all that. We end up going to a dinner later on. It's actually the last scene of the episode. This episode had a lot of filler stuff for me. So we're getting to the meat and potatoes in this because I got 10 minutes to do my coffee and get my ass out the door. So they get to this dinner. They're all meet up, I guess 30 minutes later. It was probably longer than that. Everybody looks cute. Shamea had 2 outfits that she put in her carry-on. And she told her husband on FaceTime that her luggage is supposed to arrive the next day. That's gotta suck. Oh my God. Especially on a television trip, a TV trip, and you ain't got no clothes. But all right. So they're all meeting up before they go to eat dinner. So Phaedra looks at Angela, and in her confessional, she says that Angela is the oldest young person she's ever met. So Angela is claiming to be 43. I'm 43. I turned 44 June 18th. My friend and I had a whole discussion about Angela's age. I believe she's lying about her age. I don't think she's 43. My friend and I came to the consensus that she doesn't even act like somebody in our age group. Like, she just seems so much older. If she's 43, then there it is. But do I believe Angela Oakley was born in 1981 like me? Absolutely not. No way. More like 53. Anyway, so they sit down at this dinner. Of course, there's all the pleasantries at first. And then, of course, they get to the meat and potato. Kelly, a bit of a little pot stirrer herself. So Kelly brings up Drew. She basically says, it seems like everyone has an issue with you, Drew. And Drew's, oh. I'll say in Drew's defense, it's got to be a very uncomfortable feeling to sit down with a group of ladies and then one person say, hey, everybody got a fucking problem with you. You want to talk about it? So I understand that. It almost feels like an ambush. But then again, if I'm Drew Sidora, I'm always on. I'm going to stay ready so I don't have to get ready because I'm on a reality show and everybody gets their turn. Everybody gets their turn. Drew, it seems like it's a little bit of your turn. So Shamea and Drew kind of address their issues. There's no resolve there. I can kind of see where Drew was coming from with Shamea because Shamea was barking like a dog and being extra the last time they sat down. But then Drew, you don't own shit. And what's funny is you'll say the lapdog shit, but not really follow through with it. The other thing too is you made that comment about Pilar to be shady. And the fact that you're not owning that is the problem. That's the problem, Drew Sidora. You don't have any accountability. You can't just say, you know what? I said that shit. I was being shady because we weren't vibing like that. And apologize and move on. That's why you keep getting the energy that you get. Shamea, I don't think barking like a dog in the middle of a disagreement is helpful either because you're not getting your point across. But I can understand when somebody's just being ridiculous, it makes you want to go petty. So I can see both ladies' sides. But again, Drew, I'm sorry, Drew be lying about it. Drew be lying. Mia be lying. Drew be lying. It lies about everything. Then we get to Angela brings up, they kind of bring it back to Shamea a little bit. Angela calls out, actually, no, I'm sorry. Kelly brings up Shamea and Porsha. Porsha and Shamea go to the consensus that they've kind of worked it out, there's clearly still tension there. And we know that now because they're not even talking. Even though she did wish her happy birthday, but it is what it is. But Porsha, and I agree with Porsha, we've already discussed this. And her thing is, I'm not doing it in front of a group of ladies. And I don't think she should. But Angela brought up the fact that Shamea, you kind of brought that shit to the table. Because the whole thing is, and Angela said it, you were airing out your grievances to us versus Porsha. And she's right. Shamea, you were talking to, I mean, it is what it is, Shamea. You were bringing it back to the others. And the reality that you sat down with Drew Sidora to air out your grievances about Porsha was wild. That you're doing that shit with her ops. It felt a little calculated. This episode kind of drifts off there. We kind of end with still with Drew. I don't think Drew's ever going to own up to really anything. I mean, that's in her character. We've seen it for 5 years. Again, why is she here? Why? Next week seems like it's going to get interesting with Britt because they're calling out the fact that she didn't bring shit for donating. All in all, this episode was alright. It's okay. It's all right. It was all set up for the rest of this trip. I think next episode is going to be way more interesting. I will say in Housewives history, most of the episodes where they're leaving for the trip usually tend to be fillerish because it's all they set up all the little issues that are going to play out during the trip. We got a taste of it in this episode with Drew and Shamea, Drew and Porsha, Drew and Angela. Real quick, when they were in the Sprinter van and Phaedra's like, so where's the beef? Where's the beef at? And Angela's sitting next to Drew and she's like, that's the beef. I died. Love me some Angela. All right. Okay, episode. We'll see how next week goes, but it's Monday and let's get this money, y'all. Have a good week.